Kaivalya Clean Kaivalya Clean Kaivalya
Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam, or KYG, to this Kaivalya Marga class, where we are continuing the studying of the Vayu element or the air element. In continuation with what we started a couple of classes ago, we will learn the mudras. In the last class, we examined the basics of what a mudra is, and we touched upon two of the most important mudras, the Chin and the Jnana mudra. We'll revisit them shortly and then introduce a few more mudras that are primarily meant to help us enhance our meditative capability. All these mudras are from traditional yoga point of view. But before we go there, as always, let us offer our salutations and begin this class reverentially, as with every class, with the chanting of the 3 Oms, where we become mindful of the elements, and where this whole idea of the Vayu Tattva and the pranas emanated from the Sri Kalahasti temple many, many thousands of years ago. And therefore, let's start this class with 3 Oms. Thank you for joining this class. As I was saying, I'm aware that there are many, many types of mudras that's available today for your study and for your perusal. However, I will be sharing the ones I practice, the ones I learned from the traditional yogic point of view. There are many from the Reiki, from pranic healing, and from many, many other sources of healing and holistic wellness and alternative types. So if you're welcome to study all of those, but don't come back to me with questions on those, because I am not aware, I don't practice them, I have not learned them. What I've learned is traditional yogic mudras that have always been there for many centuries. And therefore, allow me to share this. Again, this is not the only way to go into meditation. This is the yogic approach of bandhas, mudras, and kriyas. So the first mudra, when we sit for meditation, like I said, I'm not also going to focus on mudras for health and all of that. I think mudras for health is the last piece in the puzzle. There's a whole lifestyle and food and dietary and exercises that can cause tremendous changes in your health. Without all those changes, if you simply hold mudras in certain positions, I certainly don't believe that's going to give you any everlasting health benefits. So we will leave that outside the scope of this discussion. What I do know, though, is these mudras help in taming the breath and the mind and help you in your meditation, for sure. And therefore, let's focus on these mudras that will help us go deeper within, as is the purpose of yoga. Because the path of Kaivalya or Kaivalya Marga is the journey into self, into the journey of oneness, the one consciousness that embraces all of this. So in that setup of meditation, in the sadhana of meditation, as your practice of meditation, the first mudra that comes is we begin with a simple prayer, and that is Anjali Mudra. Anjali Mudra is also commonly known as the Namaste Mudra. But the word for this is Anjali. Anjali is a garland simply because it's a garland that you offer. And also if you look at it from my arms, it goes as a garland with a center flower right in the middle of the heart chakra. So your hands become a garland that you hold. Now, notice how I'm holding the mudra here. It is with fingers pointed outward, and it's not straight. So if you look at it from a side, then we'll notice if I do this, my elbows are come out, my shoulders are tight, and you're welcome to try this along. Try this with your palms straight. Now, this is a form of exercise as part of Hanuman Yoga and so on. But this is not a mudra. This is for strengthening the chest muscles, activating these muscles. So we press it and do bandhas and breathing exercise and so on. That's a different practice. For mudra, you relax your shoulders. You bring your elbows close to your body and watch what happens to the direction of my palms. It goes outward. It goes outward. And so this is the position. You will notice from here when you shift like this, then your elbows go in like so. Your elbows go in from here to here. Your palms go outward. There is a kind of a 45-degree angle, if you will. It doesn't have to go all the way down because this becomes tamasic. It gets slothy if you're sleepy. It's alive, but not so alive that it becomes an exercise. It is a mudra taking you within. So Anjali Mudra. As a first step, we begin with Anjali Mudra. What do you do in this mudra? How long do you hold it? A very simple reason we do this mudra is this is where we can chant our initial mantra or prayer. It's more of a prayer, not japa as mantra as in japa, not bijaksharas and so on. If you know mantra or you simply say a prayer or to yourself, to the higher self, to God, just to help your mind engage in a conversation, breaking it free from other nitty-gritty things of life, right? So ideally, what I do is I start with a Ganesha mantra. Ganesha is the elephantine energy in the Mooladhara. So I join my palms together. My neck is always gently bent. That is the mild Jalandhara bandha. We're not discussing bandhas here, but you'll notice that my head is always slightly bent. And as we go along in these mudras, we'll study the importance of this. But dropping a head down or slightly bent is Jalandhara bandha. The stomach is always pulled in, Uddiyana bandha. And a mild Mula bandha is in place. So when I apply the Mula bandha and get into this prayerful mood, I chant a prayer to Ganesha, the elephantine energy of the mind that is waiting to clear the passage of the pranic movement to move up. And therefore, I use this mudra to chant a prayer and offer it to Ganesha. I know the meaning of the prayer I chant, and I chant that prayer. Now, you could chant any prayer if you want. In other words, you can simply even speak to the self and say, guide me, and help me go within, things like that, right? Which gives a sense of peace and calmness. Choose your words very carefully if you're forming your own prayer. But it's easy for me because I chant it in Sanskrit. The words are already given, and they're all about not I, me, and mine, but it is about I focus on Ganesha and the energy of Ganesha that begins to open up the passage, right? So this is the purpose of Anjali Mudra. How long you hold it depends on how long that initial prayer is. You could hold it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, maybe. And so Anjali Mudra sets the balance between talking in pranic language. Now this gives you the bhava, the feeling, the reverential approach. It also balances, as will many other mudras, balances the right and the left. It brings it together, makes you aware that the right and the left eventually has to merge into oneness. And therefore, that also brings you to that state, a beginning to the path of Kaivalya begins in oneness. It's a journey in oneness and ends in oneness. And that is what this anjali mudra is all about. It also, at the very end of your meditation, you stop it, or you stop your practice, whether it's yoga practice or not. We always do the anjali mudra, bend our heads down, and anjali is a garland. We offer the garland, right? So we offer the garland, we offer our practice to the universe. Om Brahmarpanamastu. So both right in the very beginning and right at the very end, just before you get up from meditation, you can begin and end with anjali. Anjali is a garland is a circle, so the whole practice comes back to where you began. If you notice in my yoga classes, I start with namaste and welcome, and we end with anjali mudra and a thank you. So it begins from here, ends from here. Okay? That is one way of completing a circle in the mind. There is a mindful beginning, and there is a conscious and mindful end to all these practices, whether it's meditation, whether it's yogasanas, or any of these. Okay. So this is Anjali Mudra, a very beautiful name, Anjali meaning garland. Now the next mudra, I talked about it in the last class. From Anjali Mudra, and the sequence of these mudras, again, as I'm telling you, is a suggested sequence. Okay, there are many times I myself break the sequence simply because certain days I just feel from Anjali Mudra, I just want to go straight into meditation. I go into Chin Mudra or Jnana Mudra and go into meditation. Certain days I feel I need to take it step by step, and therefore I do these sequences in order. Now, I am giving this sequence for you to study, ponder over, try it, and see which in the sequence helps. Some of this makes sense, why we start with Anjali. You can't put this suddenly in the middle. If you want to suddenly get into a prayerful mood in the middle of your meditation, that's fine. But usually you start and end with Anjali Mudra. And then you pause for a little bit before you take the next step, because you've just finished a deep prayer, right? You want to allow that prayer to settle. You don't rush from one sequence to the other in meditation. The meditation, it defeats the purpose of meditation if you're saying, okay, what next, what next? So you pause, and that pause, which could be 1, 2, or 3 minutes sometimes, or even more, where you allow that energy of, for me, when I meditate on Ganesha, then I pause, I meditate on the Muladhara, apply the bandhas, make sure the bandhas are all in place, the 3 bandhas, and take some time to completely get engrossed and mindful of how my body is, how my shoulders are, everything completely, beginning to listen and go within, right? So I need that time. It comes after the prayer, because everything begins with the prayer. So for me, after the prayer, I go into what is called the Chin Mudra. Chin Mudra is, you join the 4 fingers and the thumb. We did this in the last class. If some of you have just bumped into this class, please refer to the KM class number 50. This is class 51. So KM class 50, I've discussed this more in detail. So I'll just touch upon it here. So we take the 4 finger and the thumb, gently place on the inside of the thumb, like so it doesn't slip out, because if you just touch it on the tips, after a while it will separate. So I like to keep it like this. I lock it like this. Keep these 3 fingers separate. And then you place them on your thigh, like so. This is Chin Mudra. Chin Mudra means Chitta Mudra. Chitta is that which goes deep into your consciousness. So you are awakening the Chitta. You're reaching deeper into your consciousness. Your conscious mind, in other words, slowly begins to relax. And you're entering deeper states of awareness. And so Chin Mudra helps in doing that. Chitta Mudra. Now, Chin Mudra could be like this, with palms facing up. It could also be like this. Some people like to hold it. I've watched it. I don't do this, but I've watched some people do this with one hand, either the left or the right, keeping it near the chest and doing like so. If I were to advise someone, then if you were to try this, make sure which nostril is active and accordingly take that hand to the chest. Now let me see, and you can try for yourself. See which nostril is active, where you can breathe very easily. One of them will be active. My left seems to be active, right? Where the flow is easy, and the right is also there, of course, but then I can hear the sound of my breaths, right? There is a little resistance. But in my left, it's just flowing easy. So the left is active. So I will keep my left hand towards my chest, my right hand down. Because this side is active, the left side is active, and therefore my left hand comes up. All this helps us becoming very mindful of the subtle differences and changes in the breath. We again discussed this in the previous classes of the Swarodaya, the importance of which side being active, that helps us get into that frame of mindset and for meditation. So this will help you be mindful of which hand should be up. Because that would be a question, which hand should be up, right? So this is Chin Mudra, either this way or this way. I've also seen some people hold it like this, where the shoulders are relaxed, elbows close to the body. You're sitting up tall and straight. This is also a very comfortable way to hold, with your palms turned upwards, gently, not tight, wrists are loose. It's very important because ultimately you will have to go deep into meditation and this all stays. Now, I don't practice this again because it's a matter of few minutes before my hand just drops down. So that might disturb me. So I just straight away start from here. But I'm just giving you these options. None of them are right or wrong. You have to listen to yourself, okay? You can start from here and then slowly bring it down if you will. It's all up to you, okay? So this is Chin Mudra. The other one, a variation of this, is called the Jnana Mudra, the yoga of wisdom, which takes you deep inside. So I start with Chin Mudra for a little bit, do other mudras, then when I come back to deep meditation, I simply turn my wrist upside down, rest the base of my wrist on my knee like so, and drop the mudra like this on my knees. So you see I'm still holding the mudra here, like this, but now I'm resting it on the knee. My shoulders are relaxed. My shoulders are relaxed. My neck is gently forward. So this eventually I get into this position. Perfect. I can sit like this for 45 minutes, 1 hour. I can apply my bandhas because I am sitting on a little pillow that's about 4 inches, I guess, or a little, just about 4 inches, I would think. I also use a plank many times. I use a plank as well. Just a couple of inches off the ground is more than enough for you to sit, but I just showed you this option because this is easier to get in the yoga market today. So I wanted to show you that option. So you sit like this, your spine is straight, shoulders relaxed, you apply the Jnana Mudra. Now, Jnana Mudra takes me deep inside very fast. So I apply it consciously towards the end of the sequence of mudras that we learn in this class and in the next. I'm not going to put all my mudras in one class. So let's see how much I want to share, and then I'll give you time to practice and assimilate. Next class, we'll take the other set. There's about 8 or 9 mudras that we do as we go into this meditation, each one leading gently to the other. Some of them are advanced. You may not be able to do it right away. You have to be very patient in learning this. This will take a year or 2 years to learn. It doesn't mean you have to learn and then only you will progress in meditation. No. As you are doing meditation, you can just do 3 or 4 mudras and say, okay, I'll practice that, but for now, I just want to go back into meditation. At any point, you can cut all that sequence and go into meditation. Anytime the call comes, you feel completely in tune with yourself. All right? So I'm just putting it all out there because I know these things could lead to more confusion, and I don't want to add to the confusion that could arise in your mind. Learning these doesn't mean practicing. There is a phase, learning phase, where you know the sequence, then you memorize the sequence, then you practice the sequence of these mudras. All that will take time. It won't happen in 2 3 days. It won't happen in a week or 2 weeks. It will take time then it becomes second nature to you. Automatically you will do these mudras, and then it'll build, because of repetitive practice. When you finish these sequence of mudras, your mind is completely drawn in already. You have done 70% of that journey into meditation beautifully. And then you just enjoy the next 30% completely immersed in that absorption. Whatever it is, you want to be absorbed in a deity's form, you want to be absorbed in your breath, you just want to be absorbed. You will automatically be absorbed, right? But all of that takes time. So be very patient. Don't try it once and say, no, it's too stressful for me. Because I do get emails. So I tried bandhas, it's too stressful, I can't hold it. Because you practice 2 weeks or maybe 2 months. It will take time. So practice them, then you feel, okay, I can't do anymore. I just want to go back to my meditation as I knew it. Go back to it. Keep up this practice. Slowly, you will learn to merge these things. Don't make these changes overnight or expect benefits overnight. The greatest benefit is your ability to withdraw, because eventually we'll learn about pratyahara, withdrawing the mind deep inside so nothing outside disturbs you anymore. Okay. So there was the anjali mudra, the chin mudra that I do next. And then I'll come back to this at any point when I want to slip into meditation and I go into jnana mudra. So I hope that is clear. You don't have to do this and then go to the next one. It is either this or this. I do this first. And then I'll come back to this later in the sequence towards the end when I really want to go into meditation. This is it. Then no more mudras, just meditation. Then I take jnana mudra. It's very relaxing. It's completely going within. It turns the palm inwards. My consciousness knows it has to go inwards, not out. So it's all, for me, the body language is beautiful, perfect. It suits me. That is the second mudra. Then before I go any further, because this just gave me time, why did we do this now again? Because after the Ganesha prayer, focusing on the Muladhara, I just came to Chin Mudra, and then I just spent a few minutes checking all the bandhas, whether the bandhas are in place. A mild Mula bandha, which we learned in the earth element. A mild Udyana bandha, we learned this in the fire element as well. And then mild Jalandhara bandha, you drop your head down. So all these 3 bandhas are in place. My shoulders are relaxed. I begin to become more aware of exactly how the pressure is in each of these bandhas. Am I able to breathe correctly? And all of that. So it takes about anywhere from 2 minutes to 4 minutes. Sometimes the mind is a little disturbed, so it will take time. But get set there. And then very consciously, we offer salutations to the divine Guru. For me, in my practice, without that, I don't proceed. So again, this is how I've learned, how I practice. You may want to have this step or no. It's entirely up to you. Before, about 7 or 8 years ago, I forget now, it could be even 10 years. Before that, I used to go back to Anjali Mudra and offer my prayers to the Guru. It made sense. But then I was initiated into the Sri Vidya. And then I found a particular mudra that was so beautiful that it just clicked with me. So I'll offer that mudra for you for practice. And that is called the Guru Mudra. Also known as the Mrigi Mudra. Mrigi. Mrigi is deer. Mrigi, the word Mriga is also animal. But then Mrigi is used for deer because think of a deer, a very gentle thing. Right? Deers were found in the ashrams of the gurus those days because they are so timid, they are so gentle. And the gurus would feed them. The gurus, even Sai Baba would feed. He had a deers in his ashram, and he would feed them. Right? There is something beautiful about a deer, the gentle fawn-like color, right? And so the Mrigi Mudra helps you, number one, as far as the bhava is concerned, the feeling is concerned, generating that attitude, if you will. It is the attitude of the gentle deer. I approach this Guru, I am approaching this practice as a gentle deer with timidity. I don't have an agenda. I'm not approaching this practice as a roaring tiger or a roaring lion or a mighty elephant. I don't sit and say, I want to meditate. No, as a deer, gentle. gentle, right? So that is the way I approach the Guru. So Mrigi Mudra, how is it done? Watch my hands here. It's again very simple. For those of you who know the Indian classical dance, you would have already done that with your fingers. It's very simple. Here, I just take the middle finger and the ring finger and I place it on top of my thumbs, like so. So you see, it resembles a deer, right? The ears of the deer, and you have the face of a deer. So it kind of resembles a deer. With both my hands, I join them. The way it is done, and I'll come to the benefits in a bit, because middle finger, as we have learned in these ritualistic way of understanding the elements, 5 elements, you have space, which is the thumb, you have air, which is the index finger, you have fire, which is the middle finger, you have water, which is the ring finger, you have earth, which is the little finger, right? And so you take the fire element, you take the water element, merge it into the space element. You leave the earth and the air out. Now you join these two together here. And what do? You take your hands all the way up and you place them on top of your head, like so. Why I like this so much? Again, everything is generally relaxed. I mean, don't stress your body too much. It is just gently placing this. I'm gently placing the lotus feet of my Guru on top of my head. Where is my Guru? I place him right on top of me. In other words, I am a dust under his feet. That's why the deer is very humble. The deer has no agenda. The deer is really selfless, right? It gives you that feeling. Like I am a deer waiting to be served, waiting to be fed by this higher energy. And therefore, my dear Guru, I place myself at your feet. I place this on my head and I chant the Guru mantra, whatever the Guru mantra is. It could be something as simple as Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I salute the Guru who is equivalent to Shiva, Vishnu and Maheshwara and the Supreme Brahma himself, the Brahman. I offer my salutations. It could be the Gayatri, it could be the Sai Gayatri offered to the Guru. It could be the Rudra Gayatri offered to Rudra. It could be a short Dakshinamurti verse offered to the Sri Dakshinamurti Guru. It could be the first 2 lines of the Hanuman Chalisa, Sri Guru Charana, Rajo Saroja Raja, Nijamana Mukura Sudhari. You could just say that. So whatever you feel, however you feel connected to the Guru, you could try this. You can't hold this for very long. So don't take a very long mantra and then think, oh my God, my shoulders are hurting. It just takes perhaps a maximum of 1 minute. But you take this time to tune in and chant the name of the Guru. It could be simple as just the name of the Guru. Om Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Babaya Namah. Om Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Like so, right? And then you come back down. You can come back to the Chin Mudra and again take a few moments of contemplate, continue that contemplation on the feet of the Guru. So this forms that initial and important phase from Anjali Mudra to Chin Mudra preparing, and then the Guru Mudra. Now, you might say, why can't I do Anjali Mudra, Guru Mudra, and then Chin Mudra? Like I finish the prayers first and then I can settle down. You can. That's why I said it's up to you. It's entirely up to you. I like to break these 2 in between, so it makes me not like a ritual going from one chanting to another, because I come from a culture of chants. Just when it finishes, the next chant will start. So I can't speak for everybody else, but I have a tendency, if I know the chants, I would just go from one to the next. It becomes kind of a ritual, a mindless practice. So I break that in 2 and say, Ganesha is done now, let me focus on Ganesha, let me focus on the Mooladhara. Take that time and then prepare myself for the Guru and reverentially worship the Guru. And then again, I take a chance, right? So Now, I said you can come back to the chin mudra. After the Guru mudra, because I have not taught you the next one. After the Guru mudra, you could come back to the chin mudra and contemplate on the Guru, but I'll give you another mudra now. That is called the Bhairava mudra. You come after the Guru mudra in order to contemplate. Take a few minutes. Again, you're going into these phases very slowly and very beautifully. Like Ganesha is invoked. You think of Ganesha and the Muladhara. Adjust all the bandhas. Then you gently think of your Guru, offer your salutations, the humble salutations. Connect to the Guru. Connect to the divine Guru. That Guru exists in our consciousness. He is alive. So talk to him. Engage him. Bring him alive. Bring that grace alive. I don't have any other path to share with you. I can share with you what I practice. When I do that, then I take time to come out of that. Because you're with the Guru now. And that higher self, the Guru, will guide you. So how do I now rest for a few more, maybe a couple of minutes more, 2 or 3 minutes? Or sometimes I could take just here itself. I just spend time with the Guru. And sometimes I don't go beyond this. This is called the Bhairava mudra. Bhairava mudra is a very simple and a beautiful mudra. Your right hand is on top of the left hand. Right hand on top of the left palm. You can keep your thumbs touching each other and place it gently like so. You're still sitting tall and straight. And it's very gentle like this. There is another version of Bhairava mudra. Here. Again, shoulders are relaxed. Just like we held the chin mudra like this. You could also hold this like this. Here only the thumbs are joined. Relaxed. Again, this is not for very long. So you can hold it like this as well if you feel that works for you. So these are things you can play with. Some days you just want to hold it like this. Some days you want to be like this. Bhairava. Right hand on top of the left hand. What is the other alternative for this? Bhairavi. Bhairavi is feminine. Left hand on top of right hand. As simple as that. Left hand on top of right hand. Again, thumbs joined together. It becomes Bhairavi mudra. Drop your hands down. Bhairava and Bhairavi. Why do I do this after the Guru mudra? Bhairava is actually, another meaning of Bhairava is that which takes you beyond sound. It is beyond sound. There is no sound here. So once you offer to the Guru, once you make your offering to the Guru, your mind goes, you should start going beyond thoughts now. Prayers are all done now. Now there is, you're entering the space of silence. Bhairava. Rava is silence. So Bhairava, Bhairavi, female and male part. What does that mean? Why are we doing this? Again, depending on which nostril is active. Right? So right in the beginning itself, even before sitting, I know, okay, my left is active, so today it will all be left. As far as if I'm doing this, I will do the left. If I'm doing Bhairava, Bhairavi, which is what I do most of the time, I will check. Even at that time, I can always check if I'm in doubt. My left is still active. So my left hand will be above the right hand if at this moment I want to go inside and meditate, go within and meditate. So mine is now a Bhairavi mudra because my left palm is on top. If my right palm was on top, it would be Bhairava mudra. I'm doing this very slowly, and I know I'm repeating it again and again, but it's just for your benefit. Because the first time you hear, I want to make sure doubly that things are extremely clear and it's easy for you to understand and practice. What have we done so far? I began with Anjali. Of course, I sat down, took my time. Okay, all that is taken for granted, right? You sat down, make sure that you're sitting on a bolster, not on the ground. Slight height so that the blood continues to flow and you don't cramp your feet. Choose your favorite pose. I choose Siddhasana. I put my left foot under the perineum and I sit. Anjali Mudra. I invoke Ganesha. After invoking Ganesha, I take a couple of minutes to pause. And then I think of my Guru gently. My hands perform the Mriga Mudra. And then I place it on top of my head, thinking I'm holding the feet of the Guru and placing it on top of my head. I say, rest your feet here, let your knowledge, your wisdom pour through my Sahasrara. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to explain, what it does from a yogic perspective as well is the fire and the water is joining space here. You're creating space for fire and water where on the top of your brain in the Sahasrara, you're creating space. In other words, the electrical impulses, which are manifestations of fire in your brain, get more space. They don't get crowded. So your thoughts begin to get more space. It expands. The space inside your head expands. When do we get stressed? Because we just feel there are too many thoughts. I can't handle it anymore. It just keeps coming because it seems cramped inside, right? So you're joining it with the space element, your thumb. So fire creates space in your brain. In other words, the thoughts come, but they have more space now. So they seem lesser, right? 100 people in a small room seem crowded, but 100 people in a 1 acre yard, they will say, oh, okay, not too many people. 100 people in a Disney park, if you will, which is 150, 200 acres, they'll be like, oh, there's just practically nobody here. It's the same 100 people. But with space, suddenly it seems like there's hardly any. So what is happening in your mind is you're creating space in meditation. So the thoughts which seem to be very crowded suddenly seem to be, oh, well, I don't know, I didn't even notice the thoughts. Why? Because I was more aware of the space. And the thoughts were just few here and there. They didn't bother me much, right? That's the beauty here. So this mudra also helps in that. So the fire, right? Fire creates the electrical impulses. It affects the electrical impulses in the brain. They begin to slow down. A sense of space ensues in that as an experience, okay? Then you have the water element also touching the thumb. So what does the water element do? It begins to activate the chemicals in the brain, the endorphins like serotonin, dopamine, and in fact, it's almost like sleep. So some elements of melatonin also begins to secrete depending on which time do you meditate, early morning or late evening. So all of these chemicals, which in yoga they all group it together and call it soma rasa. Rasa is again chemicals. Chemicals are related to water, neurotransmitters. They all related to the water element. So the water element are also activated, the fire and the water and space in the Sahasrara. As you worship this infinite form of the Guru who links you to that. So the whole concept of attitude and the mudra, the energy, the psychic energy that is transferred straight to your Sahasrara, because Mooladhara you awaken Ganesha, then Sahasrara you bring the Guru. Now together that energy begins to work wonders. Is it a matter of belief? Maybe. Is it a matter of faith? Maybe. I don't care. It's worked for me. And I'm sharing it with you. I'm hoping it'll work for you as well. Okay? Because for me, meditation is real. It's not an escapism. It's a fantastic step into a much more real dimension. And these help me stay there. So that was the Mrigi Mudra. Then came the Bhairavi Mudra. Bhairava and the Bhairavi Mudra. Okay, where now, after that communication with the Guru, I pause and I explore and understand that connection between the Mooladhara and the Sahasrara. I did both, Ganesha and the Mooladhara, Guru in the Sahasrara, and I meditate upon them. I get tuned into that energy with Bhairava. No prayers here, no chants here, nothing. Bhairava means above silence. You're entering silence now. Silence. You're slowly becoming aware of the moment. Mindfulness. Being in the moment. The perfect control of time is when you understand the moment. Not in the past, not in the future, in the moment. Bhairava and Bhairavi. And the last mudra that I want to share with you in today's class, we'll stop with here because the next 4 are a little more advanced and I'll again continue in the next class. Never mind if it's a little shorter class than normally is, but I'd like to make it more effective and more useful rather than just dump everything in one class. From Bhairava and Bhairavi, That is, the next one is called Riktamati mudra. You perhaps would have not heard of this mudra at all. But it's a very beautiful and a powerful mudra. This mudra helps you where Bhairava will lead you. Bhairava leads you. Bhairava is an energy, right? That energy is released in mudra. Bhairava leads you into that moment, in that perfect moment. The mind becomes empty. So how do you practice that? These are nice to think about, right? How do you practice? It's a matter of practice, right? How do you practice? So now that I put this, then I perform the Jalandhara Bandha, where a neck fully goes down. I open my eyes gently, right? And I'm going to simply stare at my palm, whichever palm is on top, right or left. Whichever palm is on top, I will stare at it. Just stare at my palm. Any part of the palm. Just stare. You will say, what do you mean? Just stare. Yeah, that's the whole point. Just stare. You become aware of the space between your eyes and your palm. You become aware of that empty space. You become aware of the emptiness in your palm. When your eyes see an empty palm, the brain begins to understand what is the meaning of emptiness, how to experience emptiness. And the mind, in other words, the mind begins to understand, oh, emptiness means empty palm. That's what it means, empty. Like we tell our 2-year-olds, right? Hey, look, nothing is in my hand. And we do this to explain to the kid empty. So we are telling our mind the same thing. How do you empty the mind? You can't tell the mind to empty the mind. Give the mind an experience. Let it see something that is empty. At this moment, what can you see? Your palms. So Bhairava mudra is incomplete without Riktamati mudra. Rikta means vacant, empty. Mati is mind, empty mind. So you could just practice Riktamati mudra along with Bhairava mudra, assuming that your correct side is up, because it makes it more effective. The effectiveness is reduced if you have a right nostril active and you are placing the left hand on top. Okay? So I will look at my empty palm. Become aware of this empty space that lies in between as well. And just stay. Watching that. As long as I want to, till I am led to the next mudra. This is how you go in. If you ask me how long should one hold, there is no answer to that question. How can I tell somebody, okay, hold it for 30 seconds? I'm just giving you 30 seconds, 1 minute as an idea. Some days I just think of the Guru prayer and then I sit in Bhairava and I'm not even able to go to Riktamati because I'm still thinking of the Guru. As I let the Guru's thought completely go, let me be happily finished with that thought of the Guru. And then I slowly open my eyes, look down, and then the mind becomes very silent. Then it becomes Riktamati. Then I allow to stay there as long as I can. It could be half a minute, it could be a minute, sometimes it could be 5 minutes. Experiencing complete silence. Feeling this, it's all feeling, I'm not thinking about it. It's feeling the empty space here between, what is the distance? See? Feeling the distance, feeling the emptiness in the palm, observing the emptiness. Giving a chance for the mind, because the mind has no shape of its own, the mind begins to embrace that experience of emptiness, and in an attempt to embrace the experience of emptiness, it becomes empty. Mind has no form. Now, if you and I, let's take an example. Let's think of an elephant. Just think. You already thought about it. At that moment, what is happening? The mind has become the elephant. Mind is not here thinking of the elephant. We are here thinking of the elephant. But we are using the mind. And at that moment, the mind has become the elephant. The mind assumes the form of the thought. It becomes the thought. Right? So what if I look at something empty, the mind becomes empty? This has to be done carefully. Now, a disclaimer before I go any further. This concept of emptiness and all, this should not be taught to children who are autistic. This should not be taught to children who have ADHD and who are already drifting into lack of attention. Don't go and teach them to stare at emptiness. They're already in that state. Don't do that. They need focus. They need challenge to focus. A sadhana like Kala Bhairava dance, where they are moving and learning, they need that to grab that attention. Okay? Don't teach it to children like that. With any kind of brain disorders or anything. Disorder is a big word. But any kind of that. Don't teach this emptiness. Emptiness is for regular people who just feel stressed and want to just feel calm. Your whole session can just end with Riktamati. Just staring at your palms, feeling the emptiness. You feel empty. You'll feel less stressed. So this is one set of mudras that I wanted to teach to you in today's class. As a step, how do you prepare yourself for meditation? What we will do is just take maybe a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know how long this will go. We'll try and do a guided session. So if you're seated on a chair, just join me, because these mudras, as you know, we are going to do anjali mudra. Then we will come down to chin mudra. Then we will do the mrigi mudra, also known as the guru mudra. And then we will come to Bhairava or bhairavi mudra. And then we will do the Riktamati mudra. A good suggestion would be, if you're learning to practice this and practice meditation in general, and it would seem ironical or paradoxical, but you need what is called a white noise. Nature has it in plenty. If you're lucky enough to sit in your garden, in your yard, if it's warm enough, right now it's not, still very warm in Cleveland. But nevertheless, if it's warm enough, if it's bright enough, if it's safe enough, if you're sitting out in the mornings, you will see the birds chirping. There will be the sound of nature in many forms. If you're by the seashore, you'll hear the sound of the waves, right? So nature has its noise, and that noise is called white noise. That noise, what does it do? Noise is perhaps not the word, but nevertheless, let's go with that. That white noise, what does it do? It occupies and engages the frontal lobe of the brain, in other words, the conscious mind. A great part of the conscious mind is engaged. In other words, a lot of your senses, your hearing especially, hearing is the first sense that came to us from as we were born. The first thing that comes to us is hearing. The last thing that goes hearing. So immediately the hearing, most of it begins to listen to that sound. It's not music, sounds, remember that. The sounds could be musical, but it cannot be music. Don't play your favorite raga and say, I'm doing white noise. No, then your mind is getting conditioned to a raga. It should be just meaningless sounds. So there is something called brain entrainment sounds that we use in yoga class. Just so a part of our mind is getting entrained into that sound. It takes 7 or 8 minutes. And then the mind gets entrained into that pattern of sound. Okay? So again, those kind of sounds we have to use carefully. Like I said, especially with children in the house, you have to be careful what kind of sounds. There should be enough beta wave frequencies in that sound so that the children are able to focus during studies. There are sounds which generate more of alpha and delta, which is more for relaxation, meditation, and there are ones for delta and theta, which is for deep sleep. Again, which frequencies, there is a whole science behind it. So it's very individual. There's no quick answer to it. But in general, yes, you need, so that's why nature sound is good. It's got a very good balance of all of that. Nevertheless, if you're at home, if you're in your room, if you're in a controlled environment, you need to put some sound that will keep a part of your brain engaged. Okay? Now, could it be a gentle rhythmic chant? Yes, as long as it's very gentle. Without too much distraction. There's no singing involved. Okay, there's no variations that you will say, aha, that was a great moment in that music, that guy sang well. No, that's distraction. It should be just so rhythmic, so boring, and hypnotic in its nature, repetitive in its nature. Then you can listen. It shouldn't make you think at all. So it could be a simple mantra like Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram. And it just goes on and on. After a while, you'll ignore it. But at some level, the frontal lobe, the conscious brain, is still listening to it. And you need that conscious brain. When we studied the Sundarakand, if you've ever followed those series, we talked about a demoness guarding the Lanka city, Lankeshwari, Lankini. So she guards. The conscious mind is guarding to prevent you to go deeper. It brings logic and all of that distractions to you. Hey, what about 2 hours later? Where do you have the time to do all of this now? What about sleep? Hey, you didn't have food. Do you want some water? It keeps reminding you and distracting you. How do you keep that mind engaged? Give it this rhythmic music. A gentle drum beat in a rhythm, right? A few little bells here and there sounds. I'm working on these. I mean, I'm hoping to create this music. I have the wherewithals, but I just don't. I'm not finding time to sit and be guided to produce these. But nevertheless, a few bells here and there, all of that. It really creates that atmosphere where this Lankini, this conscious mind, is distracted and caught up there. She's hypnotized now, right? I'm saying she, but that's how the story goes, right? And then Hanuman secretly enters. In other words, the prana, the energy will go deeper into our awareness. So we need, that's why I said paradoxically, we need something to distract us. That is why they light up the agarbatti. An incense stick will distract the sense of smell. A gentle sound, rhythmic sound will distract the ears. Eyelids will be half closed. We'll come to that in the mudras and so on. And thus you have the main senses, and the tongue will be rolled back in Khechari mudra. We'll discuss that as well in the next class. So all of these senses begin to go within. Either they're engaged or they're going within. Right? So what we will do now is I'll play a gentle music. It may not suit everyone, I don't know, because these are very personal. But nevertheless, I have to give you a chance to even experience this. And then we will let it come. Good. As the music is coming, we take time to practice this. Now, that music, in order to be effective, will take 8-10 minutes at least. Right? So a meditation session takes much longer. Usually 15-20 minutes, 25 minutes. You have to find time. It's a joyous experience. Because it's like going home. Your real home. But for now, we may not be able to do it for 10 minutes, but we will do it for a few minutes just to give you a flavor of how you can plan your own sessions. And this music doesn't have to be the same every time. It helps if it is the same, because the mind becomes addicted to that. The moment the music starts, the mind goes into that hypnotic trance. So you don't use that for any other purpose. Don't say, I listen to it while driving, while meditating, and this and that. Keep that specially for this. So repetition helps. Maybe you can have 2 or 3 variations of that and not use that anywhere else, right? So it goes like that. And there are again so many options available, depending on the cycles of the moon and so on and so forth. All of this, you will automatically, your inner guru will reveal to you. And we can continue learning on these paths as well. But right now, we are just introducing these concepts. So please bear with me and be patient in this path. Let us sit up tall and straight. If you're sitting on the chair, just make sure you're comfortably straight. Just take a few moments to absorb the music, listen. Let us join our hands in anjali mudra. Shoulders relaxed. Neck slightly lowered in reverence and humility. let us gently invoke the mighty Lord Ganesha in the Mooladhara. So he removes all obstacles and opens and paves the way, clears the path and opens doors to higher dimensions. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha the one who's as radiant as 1,000 suns, Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadha. May you render my path free from all obstacles. Om Ganganapataye Namah. Om Ganganapataye Namah. Om Ganganapataye Namah. Gently bring your palms down to Chin Mudra. Slowly turn your focus to the three bandhas, beginning from the Mooladhara, the Moola Bandha. Apply the Moola Bandha and meditate on the Ganesha in that region. The energy that will flow upwards. Take a few breaths with the Moola Bandha in place, ensuring that you understand the experience of holding the Bandha. Gently breathe out and slowly draw your stomach slightly in to perform the Laghu Udiyana Bandha. Thus engaging your chest as it gently moves and expands as you breathe in and out, with little or no movement in the stomach region. And then you gently bend your head forward consciously, if you haven't already. And become aware of the Jalandhara Bandha. Ensure all the three bandhas are in place, especially the Moola Bandha. Just a gentle pressure is all that is needed. In that inner space, gently shift your mind to the lotus feet of your beloved Guru, whoever that may be, the formless Brahman, Jesus the Christ, Buddha, or Krishna, Rama, Dakshinamurti, or Sai. And gently think of the deer as you form the Mrigi Mudra in front of your chest first. Allowing the mind to become timid as a deer. And gently place the mudra on top of your head. The index fingers, the little fingers touching each other. Visualize the feet of your Guru on top of your head. Become the dust at the feet of the Guru. That is the humility of the deer. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my salutations to the Guru who takes me to the eternal truth, who I believe is the embodiment of the Supreme Consciousness, just as everyone is an embodiment of the Supreme Brahman. He is my guide, or she is my guide, and with his help or her help, I will walk this path. And to this divine Guru, I offer my salutations, my unconditional love. Gently bring your palms down and place it as the Bhairavi or the Bhairava. If you wish to, you could examine which nostril is active and place the palms accordingly. Ensure the bandhas are in place. Contemplate on the gift and the grace of the Guru. And then gently drop your head down into a full Jalandhara Bandha. But still the neck is relaxed. Don't press your chin against your chest. Gently open your eyes and look at your palms. Feel the emptiness in your palms. Observe, understand, and feel the empty space between your sight, your eyes, and your palms. Become aware of the empty space around you in your room. Become aware of the empty space outside your home. Become aware of the empty space around this planet. The entire galaxy is but a drop in the vastness of space. Empty. 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 Stay in this emptiness for a few moments. Try and keep your eyes open, staring at the palms. It has a deep subconscious effect. Gently take a deep breath. Close your eyes, slowly release the mudra. Come back to Anjali mudra. Release the bandhas. Only perform the Jalandhara bandha. Let us bend our heads down in gratitude. And offer this tiny practice, the first step perhaps in meditation. We offer this practice to the universe. Om Brahmarpanam Astu. Gently open your eyes. Thank you all for joining this class. I thought I'll end it earlier, but then this guided meditation came to me. And I think I went 5 minutes beyond time. Thank you for your patience. I hope you found this useful. Let's continue this beautiful learning in the next class. As always, we'll end this class with 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.